a few things we want to talk about are like we want to talk about your dreams and when you first got the sense of what you wanted to be when you grew up, so to speak, and the impact you're having right now. And then we want to talk about the obstacles, because there's always obstacles that we come across. But then just like the power of having goals and plans and mentors in your life. And we want to talk about these three things because it's kind of like what we do with our clients. We kind of help them sketch out what their dreams are. We figure out what the obstacles are going to be, and then we craft a blueprint and an action plan to get them there. And along the way, we hope that we can serve as a bit of a mentor for them. And so we think that we can learn a lot just from your own experience in this area. So why don't we start by letting them in on a little bit about your background. Can you tell us a bit about your childhood and your upbringing and just how that helped shape who you are today?
Well, I'm probably not a lot different than a lot of people in this room because I was raised in a small town in Saskatchewan. I come from Strasbourg, Saskatchewan, and my father owned the hotel, and so I grew up above the bar. And one of the exercises we do when we open our mentorship program is as an icebreaker, I always ask people to tell the story of how they got their name. And so I was born in the year of the coronation of the Queen. My mother wanted to call me Elizabeth. And my father said that he had a really miserable horse named Elizabeth, but he had a really nice horse named Betty. So I always say that I was named after my father's horse. So I grew up in a small town hotel, and so from an early age, and when it's a family business, everybody does everything to keep the hotel going. And so I, changed rooms. I worked in the restaurant. I got early business experience when the cook quit, and I had to make the food. And I remember, it was macaroni and cheese, and I charged 75 cents for a dish. And then I worked in the bar, behind the desk. I mean, you name it, we did it all. And we learned a lot. I think I was the oldest of 4 children. We learned a lot about business. We all had an interest in business, and we all had an interest in giving service. And so I think that early experience made a difference. And one of my favorite stories about how I think my father influenced this was Sports Day, which was July 1st. And all of the other towns nearby came with their ball teams to Strasbourg. And they no sooner got there, maybe had played one game, and these big thunderstorm clouds blew in, and the heavens opened, and it poured rain. But of course, by that time, nobody went home. So they all went to my dad's bar. And we had just put in a beer garden, so we had this yellow and green painted fence with these yellow and green umbrellas around little picnic tables, and people filled the bar. I had cousins that were there from Winnipeg who were used to living in the city and not used to being in a small town. We needed more help. We made them come and wait tables, and all we did basically is just keep taking beer out to everybody who were sitting under these little tables with the rain pouring down, and we made more money than we've ever made. It was a wonderful day. And the next day, I was probably, I think at that time the drinking age was 18, so I was probably 18 at the time. And my dad brought all this cash upstairs, and we laid it all out on the living room floor, and we put all the 20s together and all the 10s together and all the 1s together with all the faces in the same direction, how you're supposed to do it. And then we counted it all up, and it was over $2,000, and it was like, wow. And he said, okay, you can decide what to do with it. Here's our options. We could put a new generator in the fridge. Ours is going to go. We don't know when, but it's getting close to its lifetime. Or we could just take it and spend it. But you can decide. We'll just do whatever you want. And I remember having these conversations around, so what would we spend it on? Well, that all sounds really tempting. And what if the generator goes and we haven't replaced it? How long do we have to wait for a new one? Anyway, I picked the generator.